Hey everybody, this is Tim Anderson from the Florida Film Festival, and you guys are watching one of our filmmaker Q&As. Here we have Ashley Williams, who is the writer and director and star of the short film Meets. And welcome, Ashley.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm really excited. As you know, and as we've talked in email, I'm on the selections committee for the shorts program as well. So we're in the people that actually chose the film to play in the festival. And
Thank you for doing that.
it's an amazing film. And, you know, we talk about this a lot when we sit down and we watch about 1,000 or so narrative competition shorts for the 30 plus or so that got in the festival. And it's rare to watch one that sort of totally blows our mind, like it's something we haven't really seen before. And it really either takes a story we're familiar with and looks at it a completely unique way, or takes a story that we just didn't really anticipate at all being done, and then kind of like really goes places. And Meets to me is that film. It's a film that like I haven't seen. I've seen so many movies about impending parenthood. In fact, there's 5 films that are in competition this year that are uniquely informed by either pregnancy or motherhood,
Huh.
which is very odd, and it just happened to be that way. Maybe that was just something in the water this year. But this is one that does it in a really twisted way.
Yeah.
Like,
It's maybe the most disgusting impending motherhood film.
so I know that the audience must have a million kind of thoughts about what they just got through watching, but I definitely need to know a little bit about what inspired you to do this.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think I've run the gamut in terms of my food preferences, and I've been vegan. I've done all meat diets. I've been vegetarian. Right now I'm in some sort of like guilty, shame-filled combination of all of them. But on the shame topic, I feel very emotional about my food. I always have. And I started reading. I think I read "Eating Animals" was the first, Jonathan
Yeah,
Safran Foer's "Eating
yeah.
Animals," and I started really researching where our meat comes from. And most recently, I read a book called "Killing It" by Camus Davis. That's all about her moving to Gascony, France, to research and learn how to become a female butcher.
Oh,
But there's also a lot of information in that book about just the ethics of meat eating, and I was kind of I was kind of obsessed with the idea of a female butcher. Was also something that I really wanted to explore, especially an unwilling one. I just think that's fascinating. So and in general, I have an interest in when your body is telling you one thing but your mind
yeah.
is telling you to do something else. That's really interesting to me, so I just wanted to explore all of that. And the reason that I wrote this film is because I'm an actress, and I was fired from a TV show that I was doing, and I was replaced by this girl who's so great. And I was like,
It's very
and
diplomatic of you. I'm just
well,
giving
I mean it. I mean, she's great. We've known, at this point, I'm like a dinosaur. And so I know so many people. I know everybody. I've worked
yeah.
with people. And so I was working on this TV show and I got replaced by her. And I was so, so sad. And I really loved this show. It was like a big Fox show. And I, I the day that the announcement came out on Deadline that she was replacing me, this girlfriend of mine texted me, and she wrote vodka or tequila, and I wrote tequila. And she was like, okay, I'll come right after work. And she happened to work at Netflix at the time.
Yeah.
And so she made me this like very strong margarita, and she sat me down and she was like, what are you doing? Like, what are
Yeah.
you really just gonna keep like auditioning and like doing pilots and having this happen and not getting the pilot picked up? She was like, you need to start directing and writing. Like, you're nuts. And I was like, I don't even know what to do. And I said to my husband, like, I don't know, like there's something here that is kind of biting at me that I want to do. And he was like, I've been waiting for this moment for so long. And he like got out a yellow pad and he wrote curriculum at the top.
Yeah.
And he was like, let's train you to write and direct. Let's like create a little grad school program for you. So one of the assignments that I gave myself was that I wrote a short film a week for 6 weeks. And so this was one of the shorts that I wrote, but I never thought I would actually make it. And then I
covered a lot of ground, which is
sorry, that was a long answer.
No, it's great. It actually kind of like, it just fired off so many thoughts in my head, and some of them are, that short film a week idea is something that years ago, for a long time, I've known Mark Duplass, and we had Mark here years ago, and he talked a lot to film school students about this idea of like, go out and plan to make one short film a month for the first 12 months of your life, and don't show those movies to anybody ever. Just make them and then throw them away. But at the end of the 12 months, you'll know how to make a movie. And it's a great kind of training structure to do that as well. One of the other things you touched on was actually something I really wanted to talk about. And I don't really know how this has occurred over the years. And this is, I think, the ninth or 10th year that I've been programming shorts at Florida. And over that time frame, almost every year, we seem to have a movie that is actually directed by an actress who has decided to go forward into writing and directing. In the last few years, we've had Justine Bateman and Ginger Gonzaga and McKinnon Tova. And I'm constantly shocked by how good the movies are. And I guess I kind of question to you about that is because you've kind of taken this leap of faith to go into writing and directing from acting, how much have you drawn on a career in front of the lens to do that?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of personal. I mean, I've been thinking a lot about this. I'm in Canada right now. I just finished directing a feature film here. And I have to tell you, first of all, I've been working in this industry since I was 11 years old. And I've worked with, I think, 2 female directors ever. And there is like an indoctrinated vision that I have of a man in power that is based on being directed by men for 30 years. And I have to tell you, my first day on set, leading a crew of 60 people and 35 BG, I clicked in, and it was like I was playing the part of a boy director. And I was like, boom in the shot, like get the props. It was like I was suddenly taking on this character of unselfconscious leader, right? And I had this really intense, I haven't actually told anybody this, but I had this really intense feeling the first weekend after having done this for a week that I wanted to apologize and do everybody's laundry and cook for them and like say, get meek.
Okay.
Right? Like I wanted to I had this really intense instinct to like call everybody and be like, so, I was so bossy back there. I'm so sorry. And my husband's like fascinated by that. He's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Because he was with me on set. And I think what makes women great directors is that we have a really, and I'm totally generalizing, but I should say I have a really intense connection to my emotional life. And at the same time, I can organize and schedule and do logistics like a boss, because I've got 2 kids and 2 schedules. And I know, I can tell you right now, the last time both of my kids like pooped and what they ate last and what their triggers are right now and nightmares. And also like I'm organizing camp schedules, and I'm here in Canada where like things are open. So like hand washing protocols and what's going on with the laundry. And also I am emotional. I'm a human being with hormones and I cry, and bringing those 2 aspects of my personality to my work has meant that I never went overtime. Everybody felt loved and taken care of on my set. We told an emotionally resonant story. We had, I went over the prelim props every day and made sure that each department understood what I expected from them the next day in a very kind way. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think, oh my God, there's like a huge truck. Sorry. This is Canada. They have like a compost truck that comes and
Oh, really?
compost.
Wow.
Yeah. Such hippies. It's amazing.
We're never going to get our shit together in America like that.
Oh, no. Anyway, so I think that's possible. And listen, there's exceptions to that,
Yeah.
I think, but that's, I think what works for me. Answer two. I'm like, somebody had too much coffee. Anyway, so that's, I think what that is.
No, I think that's a really fascinating element of this. And I've heard, some variants on that. So I don't think you have to feel like you're speaking in a vacuum about that or overgeneralizing either. There is definitely that. We have played a lot of women filmmakers over the years. I think it's 66% of our total competition this year, I think, is actually female directed.
That's awesome.
And the whole festival just eked itself in over 50 because with the rescheduled dates, we lost a bunch of movies. And unbelievably enough, almost all the features and documentary features we lost were all directed by women. And I was like, oh no, it's going to look so like we ignored all of these incredible female filmmakers. And because we're not doing it to a quota, it is to a degree happenstance. And then I was like, but we're definitely going to get hit. Like if we don't like have any movies like the narrative competition directed by a woman when we originally had like 4. So,
right.
So it's been a tough, year.
We've accepted all these different people,
We sort of knew this was coming, so we cheated a little bit, which is that we did announce the original program back in April before when we knew we were shut down. So we said, look, if it never reoccurs, this is what we did.
Yes. Yes.
So, which was nice.
Yeah.
All right, I want to jump back into what I think are probably some really quick questions that people are going to have a little bit about the short.
Yeah.
And one, I mean, clearly it's a real lamb. And my understanding is Giancarlo is an actual butcher, your co-star. So what I really want to know is about putting this production actually together. Like in terms of like you going on to set, you have this actual lamb, this shot where the lamb's face first appears, but its eyes are covered by the bag is like out of a horror movie. And then Giancarlo is clearly, and you are at least to a degree, but absolutely butchering this thing on camera. So let's talk about those issues.
Yeah. Well, so when I decided I wanted to shoot the short, I live in New York City. So I started calling and going around. I first went to like my local butcher shop and was like, hey, can I shoot a short film in here? And they were like, get out. Cause there's all these, rules about, cleanliness, like the health inspector, I'm not allowed like behind the kill, basically. So I called a bunch of places and then somebody told me that this butcher shop in Chelsea Market like enjoyed film stuff and that they'd shot some stuff in there before. And I literally that day ran down there and like showed up and I was like, hey, and this guy Jake who runs this butcher shop, he was like, oh yeah, the other day we had this woman in here who wanted to do like a performative interpretive dance in our butcher shop and film it. So she was like dancing and lying all over the meat, and I was like, you are my guy, like this is happening.
I feel like I wonder if it's just I wonder if it's just because Chelsea Market's at the bottom of the Food Network building, or if it's just like because there's just crazy people around that want to roll on the meat.
Totally. But I was like, oh, he's clearly gonna let me do this. And then I was like, well, I need one of your butchers as well, and I also need a lamb. And we had to work out because the butcher shop closes at 8 p.m. So we had it from 8 p.m. and then they opened at 7 a.m. So we had to be out by 5 so they could like clean and sanitize and do the whole stuff. So that was the only time we had was just that night. And basically, it was a lump sum for the location, the lamb, and the butcher.
Okay.
we basically just paid that, and then we had to get like insurance, and I was lucky enough to get this absolutely amazing DP who's a friend of ours. He shot Fury and Suicide Squad, and he was sort of there, he was like, I'm okay. Like, he was in town doing post on a movie. So he helped me out. And yeah, Giancarlo is not an actor. He's a real butcher. So we had a little rehearsal in a rehearsal space, and he was just very like, okay.
He has, it's minimal amounts of lines that Giancarlo is delivering in the film, but it's the reaction shots of him where he has an almost like twisted joy in because your character is an emotional wreck. Like, she's crying almost for the entire first 5 minutes of the film. And every cut back to him, he's on the verge of laughing at you.
Can I tell you, this is confession. Sometimes, because he's not an actor, so I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to get. So I just kept rolling.
Yeah.
So sometimes he would just be on his mark, and I would be like, okay, so here's what we're going to do. And he started like genuinely really listening, and I was like, ooh, this is good. This is good. Like, this face. So some of the times in the movie when he's just looking at me, he's talking to Ashley, not the actor.
Okay, nice.
So I was able to kind of slice that in, because I love his face. Like, it's so yummy. So it was good.
No, I was actually a little surprised. I did a little bit of research on it right after I first saw it, which was months ago. Would have been in December. And I was surprised to see that he didn't, he was not an actor. And then your website kind of gives up his real job, which is, Master Butcher.
Yeah.
So, he's a great find. So I guess if you're in New York and you're at Chelsea Market, you should go check it out and
definitely
get some meat from him.
Actually, I don't think he works there anymore. I think he just opened up a new butcher shop. I gotta find out what it is, but you can find out. You can go to the place in Chelsea Market and ask for Giancarlo.
That's awesome. Well, as we kind of start to wrap things up here, I really just want to do is to, ask you if there's anything you really want to talk about your own film, or about anything that you're really working on. I know we've talked a little bit about the fact that you just wrapped a feature, so that's very exciting. This is like self-promotion time.
Oh, I'm so bad at that. It's such a strange time in our business, and I think I've got a lot of fears about the future and how much we're going to be able to be making material. So I got this offer to just shoot like a movie of the week for A&E in Canada, where the numbers are really low. So we just got in a car and drove up here. And it's crazy, like playgrounds and camps are open, and it's kind of nuts. So there's this part of me that kind of just wants to stay here, for as long as they'll have us.
Yeah.
Our little motley crew. So I don't really know what the future holds. I mean, I did option the book Killing It that Camus Davis wrote, because I can't shake the idea of a female butcher TV show. There's something there that I really need to explore. So we optioned that with a very close friend of mine who's a director named Pam Fryman.
Oh, I know.
So she and I are developing it, and I think I might just write it, 6 episodes or something, because I think it's a TV show. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do once I deliver this movie. I think I'm going to start writing that, and also take care of my kids.
I think it's really exciting, and like I said, over the years we've seen so many actresses, and it is primarily almost 100% actresses that have moved behind the lens, and I just think that you guys can bring so much to cinema that's just been missing. I mean, we've been championing film for so long that I always feel like, look, as long as I don't have to watch a movie like about a white guy, like in the white guy's life, like I'm good, because I that's my life, and I don't need, my life's boring. I want other people's like lives.
Right.
So that's really exciting. It does sound like it would be an incredible TV show as well. I do think you see a lot of that if you watch Top Chef a lot. You definitely see a lot of women that are chefs that are competing on that have butchery skills.
Yes.
Really cool.
They have to. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And there's this aspect, like I'm trying to play around with it, but in order to do a story about a female butcher, we would need to be smart about how we did the food stuff and the meat stuff and the cooking stuff and the market. And so I have this idea to maybe do some sort of hybrid, like documentary style shooting technique when it comes to going to the market to buy the food, and then scenes taking place in the kitchen, but with real butchers and real chefs. And like I have a fantasy of like calling David Chang and being like, will you help me?
He'll totally do it. David Chang's on everything. He's on everybody's stuff. He'll do your thing.
Right?
Like, totally.
Do you know him? Will you call him?
I wish I knew David Chang, man. That's all I would be. Yeah, I would totally move out of Orlando just to eat David Chang food all the time.
Right.
Oh, so cool. Anyway, Ashley, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on this Q&A. It's been incredible. The film was amazing. If you guys have not seen the movie yet, it is still going to be running on the virtual platform until the 20th, and it is up for the Audience Awards. So take a look at it, give it a vote, and I thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Tim.